Hey guys, in my last video I spoke about how to be more confident on a video interview. There I said that you can stand up and basically mind where your camera was, but I realized there are other tips that I can give you on how to look better on a video interview. You can find the last video where I spoke about how to be more confident on a video interview right here. Over the past 6 years, I've been interviewing pretty much every single day, and I've started to notice some of the good and bad examples on how candidates were looking during the interview. There are many things that you can do to make yourself look good on a video interview. But you also need to make sure that you stay natural, meaning that you're presenting yourself as you would if you got a face-to-face interview or you got this job. You want to be in that sweet spot where you are natural, but you also want to impress the person that you're speaking with. Tip number 1 is camera angle. I said in my last video that you should pay attention where your camera was. If it's too high, we're going to be looking at your forehead, and if it's too low, we're going to be looking up your nose. Make sure that your camera is at the level of your eyes and covering most of your upper body. There are 2 things you should never do when it comes to camera angles. I had a candidate who had a setup of 4 to 5 different cameras, and he kept switching depending on which screen was he looking at. It's very distracting and very unprofessional. Second thing is, don't use your phone for a video interview unless you absolutely have to. Your hands could be shaking, you could be holding it too high or too low or even too close to your face. None of it looks good, so try to avoid this. Tip number 2 is to sit straight. Sit or stand, whatever makes you feel more confident. Be straight. Don't sit or stand in some weird position. It makes you look very unprofessional. Try to present yourself as you would if you were going for a face-to-face interview. Tip number 3 is the background. I know that most of us don't actually have a home office or a separate room we can go into. Something that you can do is make sure that you're sitting with your back towards a bookshelf like this one or a wall like this one behind me. If you don't have that possibility and you need to sit in a kitchen, for example, use an effect like blurring out your background or having some picture behind you. Tip number 4 is dress code. Yes, you are sitting at home, but you want to make sure that you present yourself and dress like you would be as if you were going to a face-to-face interview in an office. You don't have to be fully dressed. Your upper body will only be visible. So, business on top, party at the bottom. Tip number 5 is to be engaged. I can't tell you how many candidates I had looking at their screens or their phones when they're talking with me. Focus on the person you're talking with and be engaged in the conversation. If you have some questions written down on a piece of paper or on a screen somewhere, it's good to say to the person you're speaking with, like, hey, look, I have some questions written down on a piece of paper or a screen. I will be looking there from time to time. That's a very reasonable request. This basically means that you're telling them that you're not ignoring them, you're just looking at some of the questions that you have. I'm giving you these tips because I saw a lot of candidates who were speaking with me who didn't follow these tips and they just looked horrible on the interviews. When somebody's sitting in some weird position or they're switching cameras all the time, it makes me also feel uncomfortable to talk with them. Plus, I had situations where they will show up and do the same thing on the interview with the hiring leader. It's very unprofessional. This is a bad sign right from the start, and it usually means that those kind of candidates will show up like that to work, or in some cases actually show up like that in front of clients or customers. By following these 5 tips that I gave you, you will definitely look better and more professional. That's it for today. Leave a like on this video and write some comments on your recent interview experience. How did it go? I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in my next video.